Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to A Story with Rory. It's been a hot minute, like what, a week? Yeah. So we have a episode tonight. I don't have a special guest on. It's just going to be me because that's where the story happened. So very weird. Very weird stuff's been going on um in and about the rounds of my home and the area that I live at. So I'm going to kind of explain everything how it's kind of happened, but I don't know if it's all tied together, if it's just, one random thing after the next. So it was I don't know, 2 weeks ago, me and my wife, we were walking on our normal evening walk that we do, and we live out in the country, so there's your frogs, your deer that run through the forest, all sorts of stuff, raccoons, possums, all that. And it was a clear night, extremely clear night. There was some clouds, but it wasn't really that cloudy. We start walking down our road, and we get to the end where we're gonna like do our little turnaround thing and come back. And then I don't know really what provoked this or how it happened, but I was looking up in the sky and I just see this, what I thought was a plane. And I kind of just stare at it for a second, and it just sort of like moved kind of like an air balloon sort of. And it was just kind of got going back and forth. And I was like, that's weird. That's strange movement for an orb of light. So I keep just staring at it, and it's just coming like this, just barely moving, and then it's like the whole thing turns. And I don't know if you know what like a watchtower, like an old watchtower from like the east, like on the beach or something, where it turns, it's really bright, and then it you know goes away. So it was like that. It was like someone had a flashlight like this, and then they just shine it in front of you, and then it goes away. And I was like, what the heck? Because this thing wasn't that far away. Like it definitely looked like lower than an airplane, but man, it felt close. It felt within half a mile at least. Um, but yeah, it just flashed this ball of light at me, and then it turned, and when it turned, it just vanished. Like it went into like nothing. It was just black. And so, yes, that was weird. Um, at that same time, my wife was like looking at the ground because she saw some kind of shadow animal. I don't know what it was, something moving towards us. And I'm like, who cares about an animal? Look at this, giant ball of light in the sky that's coming at us. But, anyways, she saw something else and I saw something completely different. But I kind of just scratched that off as like, who knows? They fly all sorts of stuff around here, test flights, and who knows what was going on. But so we get back to our house and we get out our lawn chairs and we're just like watching the sky because sometimes we do that as well after we get done with our walk. Because a lot of times we'll see meteorites or we'll see, like Starlink go over the horizon. It's kind of neat. So we're sitting there looking up, and my wife's just like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "I see this little white dot, and it just kind of gets brighter and brighter." And I was like, "I don't know. It's definitely not a usual like a typical satellite that goes from north to south or east to west, which we've been seeing a lot of those recently, and not just Starlink. We've just been seeing just different satellites crossing paths, and usually you go out and see like maybe a few, but now it's just, I mean, it's just constant. So anyway, she sees this ball of light. I see it too. We're both looking at it, and it travels up, and then it just like vanishes. And I don't know if this is the same thing that I saw, but I had a guest on like the other week, Brian, that I had on the show. He saw a UAP and it put off this kind of like gas or mist array of some sort, and then it was gone. So this is similar to that. But anyways, I have it on as a clip tonight for you guys to watch. So let's go ahead and watch it real quick. So you'll see it in the middle of the screen, kind of that little white dot. It goes up, travels up, and then it just disappears. But if you look to the bottom right, you'll see a flash right there. It just bloops for a second and then it's gone again. I have no idea what this thing could be. It's definitely not a star, it's not a planet, it's not a satellite, and it's not a plane. Okay, and it's definitely not some kind of drone. I don't know. And I want to say like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before this, we found this track, and I don't know if these are intertwined at all. I doubt it, but I find this track behind our house by the river. Okay. Now, if you look to my boot on the right, I wear a size 12 in boots. And if you look, gosh, I can't show you with my mouse because it's not how the software is. Anyways, if you look at just the general shape of this print, okay, it's like almost twice as long, and it's probably maybe almost double the width of my foot on the biggest part of my foot. Okay, and then just for scale, I have it up next to my hand right there, and you can kind of see, the width of my palm is almost the same as the heel, where the heel comes out and starts tapering out right there. That was more like a horizontal view to where you kind of get down eye level and see it, but there was only one print there, but you can see where the ridge of the toes would be. You can see left or right. It gets small, then it gets big, and I really would have thought that they would have had more tracks than that, but I didn't see anything. And man, I looked and I looked. We have never seen a track like this by our house ever. However, there's a guy that lives, I'd say maybe 5 to 15 miles north of me and my wife. And a friend of mine was like, hey, he's got some trail cam pictures that just have fur on the lens. I was like, oh, that's strange. Maybe it's a horse or maybe it's a pig or, something of that nature. And he's like, no, 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 no. He's like, it's strange colored hair. Like it's this weirdest color you've ever seen. And the texture of it's odd, but there's also these giant prints. And so I looked at them, and very similar to these. They're not the exact same, but they're very similar. And so I don't know what's going on, but I guess the guy also claims that something was calling to him, like some kind of animal or something was making noise towards him. And I guess it's just kind of like freaked the guy out. I don't know. I'm trying to have him on. I'm just waiting for him to schedule a date. We can do an interview. But anyways, these prints with this UAP sighting, I don't know what to make of it. It travels slow. It gets higher and higher. It disappears right here. And then to the bottom right, it flashes, and then it's gone again. So there's a flash, and then it's gone. So if anyone didn't see that, we'll play it one more time. The anomaly, I guess we can call it that, travels up north, fades out, and then to the bottom right is a blip. Just a blip. And it's like, what on earth? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's strange. So, anyways, those are a couple things that have really just kind of caught my eye here recently, and I don't know what's going on, but it's just really weird. I did have the two UAP orbs of light that like shot down out of the sky. And that was like, I don't know, that was months ago. They basically shot down from the sky and they were following each other. They were just like, tandem all the way across the sky, and then they shot up. So very weird. I know they do like experimental test flights, drones, all that stuff, kind of out by where I live, and it happens all over the place. But something is definitely going on with that. And speaking of that, be sure to check out Skinwalker Ranch season 6. If I'm saying that right, 5 or 6. I'm not sure which one it is. The new season for Skinwalker Ranch is coming out to Apple TV and the History Channel. So be sure to catch that. I mean, that's going to be a really good season. I think they're doing a lot of the same test experiments that they've been doing. And they found some manufactured metallic material inside the mesa. And, everyone's kind of speculating what that is, and we have no idea. But whatever it is, it definitely holds radiation, and it makes their Geiger meters just go all over the place. But anyways, I just wanted to share these two circumstances that happened that were just kind of like, I don't know what it is, and I don't know. I wish I could put my finger on it, but I'm like, what can just be floating, moving, and then disappear, and then reappear? Like, it wasn't even a second later, and I don't even know how fast an object would have to be traveling to even do that. Because, I mean, when we look at space, it looks like, oh, it's not that big. But when you actually get up there and you go from this point to this point, where that's 25 miles, or that's 15 miles or 5 miles, nothing can travel from here to there. That's man-made within 1 second. 5 miles in a second, that just doesn't happen. But anywho, thanks guys for watching the channel. Be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button to keep getting more content, more interviews like this. So until then, see you next time.